Morning everybody, how is everyone? What a glorious day. A few little clouds, but sun's shining. It is still cold, but it's not going to deter us from the job we need to do today. Now, I've been quite lucky that the local council have been giving away fruit trees. So the good lady of the house has been down and got one, which is an ideal opportunity because this one is past its best. Now, we have got a few little buds on here that's coming from a new shoot down the bottom, but the actual tree itself is pretty much dead. It's all brown inside. So I'm going to get rid of the tree. I'm going to take these out, cut them off and repot them, see if I can get another couple of trees. But yeah, it's time to get this one out and put the new one in. Now, as you can see, we've taken all the gravel out. We've cut the top back. Some of these are quite dead inside. One over there, it's still a little bit green in the middle, but like I say, we're not going to get anything out for this anymore. We only had one apple, I think, last year, so got a little mat down on the floor. So let's tip this over and have a little look inside and find out if it's been diseased from the roots. Because the idea is I want to reuse the compost that's in here for the new tree, as opposed to trying to fill this big pot up with new compost. Now, I really don't know what I'm going to find in here. Whoa. Try and loosen it up a little bit. Okay, that's out. A few little weeds. Right. Now, I'm quite surprised that there's not, I don't know what that is, I'm quite surprised that there's not that many roots on it. Now, I think that may be, it was from a small rootstock. Now, rootstocks I'll touch on very briefly in a minute. So I'm going to break all this off, just try and get as much out as I can. That one's broken away. That's one of the ones that I wanted to keep. So we're going to, that's it, ease that out. That's got quite a substantial root system on that. So I think we're going to get these ones off that I want to repot first. Then I'll check the main roots. Now, I've got a pot here which I'm going to be putting these others in. These little canes. I'm going to leave the top as it is, but the bottom we're going to give the roots just a little trim. Now when you're cutting roots, you want to try and get it just below a side root. You've got your main root there, then you get the little side roots. You want it just below the side root, not above the top root. Otherwise the bit from just above the side root to the next side root, there's a good strong chance that it will rot. So we'll just give them a little trim. Not too much. That's a very nice, strong, healthy root on the side there. And all I'm going to do, I'm just going to pop it in, get a bit more of that out. I'm going to poke it in like so. Now, you only want it just above where the bottom of the actual stem is. You don't want to bury it too deep. And then just cover it over. Then I'm going to put it in a nice shaded spot. And see if I get another tray. I've got 2 more to do. And I'll come back in a bit. Okay, that's them 3 done. Different size cuttings in different size pots. So, there. Now, on inspection of this, checking the roots, got some nice new growth on the side, but that's about it. Everything from there down is pretty much finished. Checking the roots, there's no signs of any disease, which is good, although the main tap root has stopped. There's no more growth coming out the bottom of the tap root. So I would say it's quite safe to reuse this compost with the new tree. So we're going to empty the rest of this onto there, mix it all up with a bit of fertiliser and get the pot ready to accept the new tree. cleaned everything out of the pot. We put the crocks back in the bottom again because apple trees do love good drainage. Now with the mixture, you've got to get it right. I would not advise just using normal compost. You need to use a mix of compost and soil, and I'd stay well away from organic compost. Although you can use organic compost, it does take a lot of care with the feeding and the watering. So the best option is just to use a mixture of normal compost and garden soil. All I'm going to do is put some of this back, 2 or 3 spadefuls, back into the bottom. I don't know if you can hear that, but there's a bumblebee around here somewhere trying to find a new home. So yeah, in the top of this we're going to add a little bit of Glowmore and some, what are they called? Manure pellets. Just a little handful, and then we're going to mix that all in. Now we don't want a little bit more on top. Now I don't want the roots of the new tree touching the fertiliser because it is strong and it will burn the roots. After that, now on top of that, I'm going to put some more drainage. These are the bits that were on top, stones that were on top of the pot. They've had a little rinse out. We're going to throw them in. Like so. Now the rest of the compost and soil that's here, I'm going to mix a bit more fertiliser in with it before it goes in. And then it's ready for the tree. Now here is the new apple tree. Now as I said, the local council were giving away free trees. So the good lady of the house went down and picked one up. Now when they first advertised it, there was lots of different bushes and trees, but there was only apple trees when we got down there. The good lady got down there, so she picked one up. Now what they've done, they've put the label for the tree around one of the small branches, which blew off on the way home. So I've, like I say, no idea what the variety is. I've also no idea what the rootstock is. Now this has been soaking in water for a couple of days, and as you can see, nice healthy roots. There's the grafting point there, which you don't plant above for obvious reasons. But that's that. Now I just want to touch on rootstocks for a bit. Depending on what type of fruit tree you're growing, they have different sized rootstocks. Not knowing what this is, some do better in pots than they do in the ground and vice versa. Now I am hoping that this is not an M27 rootstock, because that is the vigorous kind, which really need to go in the ground. They're no good for pots at all. Now the ideal rootstock for a pot is an M26, which is in between a dwarf and a medium size. There are others. There's an M25 rootstock, which is large, and the really dwarf one is on an M9 rootstock. It does get very complicated with rootstocks. Some are given numbers and letters beginning with M, others are given names. The plum tree over there is a Julian rootstock, which is a very vigorous one, which shouldn't be in a pot, it should be in the ground. Now, the difference between growing apple trees in a pot and in the ground is watering. Now, watering is essential. Now, even though it's been raining, you think, okay, it's been raining, it's been watered. Pots do dry out and the roots will go in search of water, and in pots they've got nowhere to go to search for water. If it's in the ground, the roots will reach out into the soil to find moisture. So pots need watering and feeding on a regular basis. Now, there is another rootstock for apples I did forget to mention. It's an MM, and I think it's an MM 106. Now, an MM 106 rootstock is capable, the tree is capable of growing anywhere between 10 and 14 foot high. I really hope that this is not one of those, but we've got a big enough pot. Always use a pot that is a lot bigger than your rootstock. This is a massive pot. We'll leave it in here for a couple of years and then check it. If it's starting to get root bound, it may have to go over the allotment and into the ground, but we'll see. So let's get this in. Okay, all we're going to do, we're going to check for the top of the pot. Now, there's the grafted section there. Now, we're going to soil it up to about there. So just dig a little bit, sit it in. Now, pick the angle of your tree to suit whatever way you want it facing, like so, and then backfill it. This is where you need 2 pairs of hands. And give it a good firming in. Any little straggly roots that are coming out, just poke them back in the ground, they'll be fine. And then fill the pot up. Now, the only other thing I'm going to be doing with this, or a couple of things, give it a little trim. Now, obviously, when in transit, we've got a little stem up here, a little branch up here that's sort of broken. Even though it's got a bud on it, there's not a lot holding it to the tree, so we'll just trim them off. We'll give the top one a little trim as well, just above the bud, like so. Always cut them on an angle so the rain can run off. I think that will do for that. and then we need to give it a bit of support. Anything will do. I'm using a bamboo cane. Push that right down into the bottom, like so. And then tie it off. Nice shade of pink. It's not to actually tie it into the support, it's just to give it a little bit of support. When if the wind blows, it doesn't uproot it. So I think one will be enough there. Then I'm just going to add the water that it was in, give it a good soak. And there's a little dressing on the top. A little bit of grit. I need to get some more actually. That's it. When I get some more grit, I'll just give it another top up. So there you go, the new apple tree. And hopefully next year, we won't get anything this year, but next year we might get a few apples. But till next time, take care.